And to give you an idea on how bad the bleaching has actually gotten, we've lost about 30% of the world's coral reef to this, and majority of that has happened within the last 10 years. The other thing happening in the ocean is it's actually becoming more acidic. And that's happening because what the ocean does is it absorbs carbon dioxide. You can kind of think of it like the gas that's dissolved in a bottle of pop. When you first open it, it gets that little fizz thing going on. And it also sort of, burns your throat a little going down. That's because it does have acid in it. That's the carbon dioxide. There's carbonic acid in your drink. There's a little bit in there. Same thing would go for the ocean. And if there's more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it means there's more carbon dioxide for it to absorb. So that's actually what's happening. And unfortunately, for anything that relies on making sort of a tough exoskeleton, a shell, even the coral reefs themselves, that makes it really hard for them to build what they need to build, because that lower pH, that acidity in the water, makes it hard for them to get enough calcium carbonate. That's the ingredient that makes these hard outer coverings for them. This picture down here, the sea urchin cannot properly make its exoskeleton. This is a sea urchin with normal pH, and this is a sea urchin in an ocean water that is too acidic. Over here, which is this little shellfish, and this shows up better on your notes, but this would be one on day one, and then as it goes on, it can't form enough of a shell, and by the time you get all the way over to this picture that is currently hidden behind my face, it's almost completely dissolved. So they can't find the stuff to get that's causing these things to be reduced in size. So that definitely includes your lobsters and crabs as well in there. They're just not able to build that shellfish, that shell exoskeleton they need, because the ocean's too acidic. Those weather patterns that we mentioned that are changing, some of the natural disasters that we're seeing on a more frequent basis, or that are just occurring in a much more traumatic amount, especially if we check out the Midwest here. Oh, okay, so we're going to be warmer, and these are actually effects that we're seeing now, and they're just saying they're going to keep getting worse. A lot more flooding, we've seen that. With regards to agriculture, it's actually not too bad there because our growing season actually expands. So that's kind of the upside of some climate change. However, if it gets too hot and we flood out, that's kind of going to negate all of that. Air and water quality, so especially if you are prone to sinus issues or you have allergies, climate change is not your friend, because it's extending those time periods of the year when those are really bad. Out there in the Northwest and the Southwest, which is down here, they're actually going to be getting a lot warmer. Instead of increased precipitation, they're going to be getting less, which is definitely going to cause an increase on the wildfires, which we've been seeing. So that's areas like California, Arizona, Utah, what Oregon was going through. All of those states are going to be having those issues. So if you're us, we're going to get more water. If you're them, you're actually going to get less. This is something you want to look at in a little bit more detail in your notes. Then you're going to have this answer on your Nearpod. And these are just some ways that you could actually personally help to kind of reduce your output of carbon dioxide or methane. One of the biggest problems we have is just food waste. So maybe you buy a little too much, it goes bad, you throw it out, it gets pushed back to the back of the fridge, nobody eats it, so on and so forth. Instead of having plastic bottles, get a reusable one. Food containers, instead of using like plastic sandwich baggies, you can just actually get the sandwich boxes. You can put those in. That helps a lot. With less packaging, so instead of buying these individually wrapped things, if you can buy a box full of it and then just portion it in the containers yourself, that actually saves on quite a bit of trash. Energy efficient appliances, well, if you're not doing it yet, but you will. When it comes time to pay that electric bill, you're going to really appreciate having an appliance that is a bit more efficient. Then, of course, all the rest of these are good things to do as well.